Knockout. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Han Song-gyo. You win! To the stage of history. Battle 1. Fight!
Is there anything better than a good old-fashioned versus fighter? Yes, there is. A versus fighter with weapons. And none come any better than Soul Edge by Namco. This game takes more than a little influence from Samurai Shodown on the Neo Geo. Set several centuries before Samurai Shodown, but again focused very heavily on the use of weapons and played in a 3D environment. The game was developed on the System 11 hardware, the same as the Tekken series, and also the tech that was closely aligned to the Sony PlayStation. This game looked, sounded, and played brilliantly. And for me at least, it was a game I instantly took a liking to. Although I didn't play it that often, like other Namco games, I couldn't find it in arcades, but was found in bowling alleys and cinemas. But I did find myself making suggestions to go to 10-pin bowling alleys more and more once I played this game, which did tire out my mates. Soul Edge was created prior to the introduction of the so-called 8-way run, which, by the way, for those that maybe do not know, the 8-way run basically allows the player to move in 8 directions. The characters can sidestep to either side by double tapping down to move to the foreground, or tapping down and up to the background. The jump maneuver moves the player higher into the air, even allowing it to pass above the opponent. The game uses an active block system performed by pressing the block button, and a combat system based on the 3 attack buttons: horizontal attack, vertical attack, and kick. Character moves retain a feel of Namco's Tekken series. Each character has 1 or 2 slow but unblockable attacks. Each character is also capable of performing 1 or 2 critical edge attacks, consisting of a long series of linked hits, usually ending in a strong high attack. These moves require the input of a special combination of 2 parts. They are activated by pressing all 3 attack buttons together, and if it connects, the player has a chance of extending the combo with a character-specific sequence, which must be input during the attack. This attack depletes 1/3 of the weapon gauge when used. The weapon gauge is a life bar for the character's equipped weapon. Each time the player blocks an attack, the bar depletes. If the bar is totally depleted, the weapon is lost, and the character is forced to fight unarmed. Victory is achieved when the opponent has no life meter left, or by getting ejected from the ring. The game uses its own ring out system, which is a forcible manoeuvre that ejects the opponent from the arena and gains an automatic victory for the round.
Battle 1. Fight! Out of the ring. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Taki. You win! Battle 2. Fight! Knockout. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Taki. You win.
The visual style is similar to that of Tekken, but also very different. Everything in Soul Edge looks medieval and brightly lit with good use of loud colours throughout on the characters and the backgrounds, unless the stage is fought at night, which happens very often, as many fights take place over sunrise or sunset, which makes the fight seem like it's been going on for hours. And when night falls, the hues used to simulate dusk to night look absolutely superb. Some stages even have battles taking place, and in Siegfried's stage, you can almost feel the tension when this castle is attacked by the trebuchets and you see the ramparts falling and fires breaking out all over the place. The music on that stage is particularly great as well. It adds to the sense of tension and anxiety, and the whole soundtrack for each stage has this very cinematic feel to it. All of these tunes are epic and would fit right into a Hollywood period drama. As I said, each tune fits the character and the stage perfectly. Sophia's tune sounds very princessy in a fairy tale type of way. It's almost like a John Williams soundtrack. The whole soundtrack is really that good. The great visuals and sound extend to the presentation. The presentation between bouts is short, but the avatars and the next fight screen do their job well, and so does the commentator guy. Now, he is not as enthusiastic as, say, the guy from Killer Instinct, and when he announces a victor, it does sound like he's just going through the motions.
Knockout. The grueling battle ended with the victory of Taki.
But I just like to think that maybe after a hard week doing voiceovers at Namco, it was a Friday afternoon and he was thinking about heading out to the pub with his mates for a few pints, and was just kind of going through the motions to get the job done while trying to be professional. The gameplay is definitely like a cross between Tekken and Samurai Showdown. You could get reasonably far in the game with very little skill, but at some point you would hit the wall and not be able to progress any further. But if you persevere, you can learn the necessary skills required to make it all the way to the final. So obviously 2-player battles was key to practicing. And this posed a problem for me. The bowling alleys were not filled with the usual hardcore gamers you would find in arcades. These were more the casual gamers, and some did not understand the etiquette created by Street Fighter 2 of just rocking up, inserting your coins and joining in. So you would have to ask them if they wanted a versus battle, and most of the time it was met with a no thanks. So this meant I would be playing the game solo almost every time, and it was tough to learn the moves and master the fight mechanics. Not only that, there were 2 versions of this doing the rounds in arcades. Soul Edge version 2 had some changes and allowed for the player to select Cervantes as a playable character. The question was, what version would get ported to the PlayStation?
Out of the ring, Mitsurugi stood again against an impossible enemy. You lose. Will you challenge the enemy again? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The legend will never die.
Soul Edge. Welcome to the stage of history. Battle 1. Fight! The grueling battle ended with the victory of Li Long. You win. Battle 2. Fight!
Like the Tekken port, Namco have done a simply outstanding job on this port, and they ported over the version 2 to the PlayStation. And again, like Tekken, they included an amazing intro that seemed to run for ages, and must be one of the most truly iconic intros of all time. But I won't be showing it. Getting into the game, there are loads of options and different modes to play and tweak, but the arcade version was as close a port as you were ever likely to see of a game. From the very start at the character select screen, this game looks, sounds and feels just like the arcade version, and is a very highly polished port in my opinion. All the characters, all the attacks, all your favourite attack patterns, absolutely everything is included. And I think this was one of the games that really did heighten the gap between the PlayStation and all other competitors at the time. When Sony were developing the PlayStation, they were keen to make sure they had as many polygon games as possible. In fact, they did try and discourage some developers from porting sprite-based games. And when you see this and Tekken, it's easy to understand why. The PlayStation was an incredibly powerful piece of kit, and these home ports from Namco were like playing the arcade at home. Even the loading between bouts didn't remove that arcade feel, and when playing Soul Edge, it was like there was no let up in the action. And I was now finally able to play a 2-player with some mates at home and improve my skills. But Soul Edge was one of those games that kind of came about at the wrong time. In 1997, my interest in video games was not the same as it was. I still played them, and I still bought loads of games for the PlayStation. But some of my other mates still viewed them as toys, even though the PlayStation was marketed at adults. They just seen them as toys, and couldn't see what the fuss was about. Thankfully, some were still big kids at heart, and didn't need persuading to pick up a controller and have a fight. And Soul Edge was a game that had many a few beers, and a few tears, but also a whole shed ton of laughs and good times. Whether it was an afternoon off work, or after a session at the local pub. This game got played loads by me, and some of my mates. It was also a game I couldn't master, as if you couldn't tell that by the footage in this video. But I was now 20 years old, and gaming was more for the thrill than the kudos now. And I started to move away from these arcade style games and into more adventure games like Resident Evil and Tomb Raider. And as such, I never devoted the time to master the moves or characters the same way I did with Street Fighter 2. Soul Edge was a huge success for Namco, and a huge success on the PlayStation, and created a sequel that was again a huge success. And this is a game that I absolutely adore, and I cannot recommend it enough. Go and play it now. You simply have to. And that was my look back at Soul Edge. If you like this video, then give me a sub and a thumbs up, or maybe even a comment or two below about your memories of Soul Edge on any format, or any version for that matter. And as always, a massive thank you to all of those who have subscribed and commented on my channel. Your feedback and support really does go a long way in helping the channel grow, and I do appreciate all the support. So thank you from me. And that's all from me, folks. Thanks for watching.
The grueling battle ended with the victory of Rock. You win.
Wait, did you honestly think I wasn't going to show this intro?
Transcending history and the world, a tale of soul and swords, eternally retold.